Three, two, one, action. Honorable Discharge is a veteran operated platform. Sometimes the humor will be dark, the humor will be dry, the intelligence will be high. Consider the stories you hear as entertainment. There, that is your safety brief and your disclaimer. Welcome on board Honorable Discharge. I am your pilot, Michael Caesar III. Please say the third, and this is journey number 3. Now, my discipline needs to improve on these. I work for a company that's a new startup, so I work 14, 15-hour days. Also, along with trying to get my bachelor's degree, but this is something I want to push and I want to turn it up on. You know, I like to start on positive and end on positive news, so let's start with some positive news. Christian Bale has a Bruce Wayne level of philanthropy. He's building 12 homes to keep foster siblings together in a project called Together California. And the project will be based in Los Angeles. From the reports is Christian took this role just as serious as his acting roles. Reports say he was deeply affected by the amount of siblings he found out get separated by the foster system. He traveled to Chicago and started meeting with foster children in several programs and family services to gather the information that he needed to undertake something this massive. And after gathering what he needed, he got with some like-minded people, which is just how, some investments go, and they came up with an estimated cost of $22 million, and it's scheduled to be finished by mid-2025. And Christian also called upon Californians to join him and open their eyes to what's happening right under their noses when it comes to the foster children that are being ripped apart. So look, I'm pretty sure there's going to be generations of people that look up to Christian Bale and thank him for keeping them and their siblings together. So we're going to jump right into some rap. We got the clash of the hip-hop titans. There seems to be an issue coming to the forefront between Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole, Metro Boomin, and Future. So, producer Metro Boomin and Future released a project titled We Don't Trust You. There's a track on there featuring Kendrick Lamar titled Like That, and Like That has taken over the hip-hop convo for the past few weeks and is now a Billboard #1 hit. We saw LeBron rapping along to Kendrick's verse pregame. The track Like That has some direct subs towards Drake and J. Cole. Direct subs. That's actually oxymoronic. But look, brief history on myself. Battles on wax or diss tracks are my favorite, or maybe my second favorite type of rap. No, probably my favorite type of rap. I love a good diss track. I like putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I like doing the history and the research on it. I like how malicious and flagrant you can get with somebody in a rhyming form. Not saying I'm the biggest fan of battle rap. I like battle rap too, but I just like it when it becomes more polished and put on the track and two artists go back and forth from that. Man, I love the competition that was built on hip hop, and it's been missing from a couple generations from rap. From a couple, so it's but it's fitting that some artists in their mid to late 30s, I think the late 30s, the leaders of their generation have to uphold and hold down the tradition of just challenging your peers on your level, just challenging other rappers to back up, just holding down the crown and back up all, the bravado that comes with being a rapper, a good rapper that we often hear. We often hear good rappers say how they won't smoke and they'll bar somebody up and they want somebody to try them. Man. And it's because like the newer rappers, I think they don't know how to rap that well. And they also, when they have problems, it goes way past music because they can't make the music to keep up with the competition. So, I'm going to stay on that. So, the competition that rap has been built on has drastically gone down. Like I said, each generation from the 80s to the 90s, 2010s to the 2020s, it just keeps going down. And especially with the male rappers. Like the women rappers still seem to be with the shits. But the key point I'm saying that is that keeping it music. The women rappers are making music towards each other and making highly competitive music for their peer group. The male rappers, I don't see that as much because the ones that do actually get into a beef, it's usually stemmed from something in the streets and then it's going back to something in the streets. We don't want any of that. We just want to hear bars going at each other and then you dap it up at the end or you go your separate ways. Whoever feel like they won or took the loss. I also think the more popular that rap got, the more money that got involved. Of course, it became more commercial. The street artists got detached from that. Artists start becoming more, like I said, assets for labels. They start becoming more business minded, and it did not want to mess up the money that came with being in the beef, because now you have to worry about this person at that venue and this venue. Even though not every situation is gone bad, but we just seen enough in rap to where sometimes people worry about things like that. And then you have the emergence of Khaled. Khaled, if you see this, I'm gonna blame you a little. There were collaboration tracks before him, but he revolutionized the collab. He had all the popular artists of that time period, or whenever it comes out, just making like fire. Like for some reason, the way he produced it or put together or orchestrated the tracks or arranged them, he really, every album he has, you have to listen to it for just like, there's gonna be one or two just great collabs on those, and it's been that way since he came out with his tracks. So add that up, and now decades later, you basically have like AAU hip hop, which is not that much of a bad thing. We've gotten some classics from multiple artists jumping together, but like I said, the competition it seems a little bit lazy. But you have a sprinkle of artists, like you have Corday, you have Coast Contra. There are artists out there that still willing to push and keep hip hop up. Man, I keep looking around because right now I'm recording at this new I got this new office building, and right now I'm up front because there's construction going on in the back. So I see people, or I see a shadow walking through, so that's just catching my attention. All right, so but there's been a cold war. If you've been following these artists, like I said, they came out when I was just first hitting early adulthood or my late teenager phase. So there's been a cold war between Drake and Kendrick. You know, I really remember when Kendrick barred him up during the BET cipher. He said nothing's been the same since they dropped Control and took the sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes. And when that first came out in the BET cipher, it was live. I didn't really see no playback, but that was a real hype moment because we all knew the direct sub he was talking about, because Control was a big moment in rap, just like That Is. Nothing Was the Same was a Drake album. People still think Drake's sensitive. They've always thought who he was sensitive. So when Kendrick came out and said that as another prominent artist, you know what I'm saying, we were ready for like, oh, this could be a very long time of them going at it, because they're going to be the future of hip-hop, and they turned out to be exactly that. Then my favorite Drake sub towards Kendrick, well, in my mind, it's a sub towards Kendrick. It was from 6 p.m. in New York when he said, I got a backyard where money seems to come from the trees, and I'm never ever scared to get some blood on my leaves. I think this was right after Yeezus, so the blood on the leaves was very fresh in the minds of hip-hop fans. You know, Kendrick and J-Rock have a song called Money Trees, so I felt like that was a sub. And in my mind, that is a sub. It's one of their many. Now, Cole and Kendrick is new because they've played with our hip-hop emotions by dropping the Black Friday tracks where they rapped over each other's beats, and we never got that project. So we can add that to the list of hip-hop projects that are never coming out, but they always sounded good. I also saw that Ross and Nav unfollowed Drake. Oh, fucking no. Drake does not have Ross's social media friend acceptance. What would he do? Did I say that? I meant to say Nav. I'm pretty sure I said Nav. But look, now the Ross thing is weird looking in because I've never seen a problem from Drake and Ross. In fact, they've given us some dope classic music together. Like, I don't think there's a Ross and Drake track that is not fire. It's not mid, but it's always just great music. In fact, I think Drake on Aston Martin music, that was probably his coming of age verse. I think that's the verse that I heard a bunch of people say that that was it. Like when we heard that, it was like, oh, this nigga, you know what I'm saying? This nigga's rapping. Like he's actually spitting. He really wants this hip hop shit, and his bars are really personal and introspective. And I know the culture loved that. I was of age when that was around, and Aston Martin music was a big deal. So going back to that, I like that song. The Kendrick lines that I liked, man, these were the hard ones. He said, say it's a lot of goofies with a check. Now you can break that down as the Goofy being a popular dog character for Disney. Drake has the For All the Dogs album. Drake dropped Adidas during the Pusha T beef and now has a Nike deal, so that's the Goofy with the check. And then we can go into, okay, let's get it. It's time for him to prove that he's a problem. Niggas clicking up but cannot be legit no 40 water. Now, I had to do my research on that. I knew about the 40 water line. I caught that, but I looked it up. So E40, Be Legit, Sugar T, and D Shot had the group called the Click. So that right there makes sense. And also, Kendrick is saying Drake and Cole are clicking up. And I also think it's just a name check for 40, Drake's producer. That's what I got out of that. Kendrick also said, I crash out like fuck rap, diss Melly Mel if I had to. That might be the hardest bar on the song to me because, Kendrick is telling us he was looking and he couldn't find any fucks to give, and he'd light up a pioneer, an OG of rap if he had to prove his crown and to put his stake in hip hop. He would get to all that, and that right there was hard. Bringing up Melly Mel, shouting him out, maybe giving Melly Mel some traction from people who didn't know who he was. So when they're looking up the Kendrick bar, they find Melly Mel, maybe they go listen to some music, do their history, and then now you have some new Melly Mel fans from a newer generation. Kendrick said, fuck sneak dissing, first person shooter, I hope they came with 3 switches. Now, we all know first person shooter is a hard ass song from Drake and Cole, from Drake's last album. It was them talking their shit, telling us that they are the best rappers out. They came in the game together, and they're still dominating. Cole, that was a part of Cole's onslaught of features he's been on for a few years, so he came on there and killed it. Drake did his part at the beginning. Then Drake ended the song on some BS talking about Arlene, Darlene, and some sardines. That wasn't the time to be on some bullshit. If he was going to start talking like that, he should just let the verse end with Cole, because we wanted bars on that. Now, Kendrick took that track as a real MC challenge. Like, okay, this is 2 of the best rappers out to the public. These are 2 of my peers. So, hey, they got a song called First Person Shooter. I'm going to look for anything in there to motivate myself on some Michael Jordan shit and even more convince myself to go at these niggas. He said, think I won't drop the location. I still got PTSD. Motherfuck the big 3. Nigga, it's just big me. Look, that bar is self-explanatory. I got nothing from that. I just wish he would have ended the song with that. Instead, he uppercutted him, had him stumbling, and then he came back with more. And your best work is a light pack. Nigga, Prince outlived Mike Jack. Now, going back to first person shooter, Drake wrote that I'm one away from Michael, nigga, beat it, nigga, beat it, nigga, beat it. Alright, so Drake was approaching Michael Jackson for the number 4 spot on Billboard for the most number 1s in the top 100. And I don't know if Drake has passed that yet, but it was a cold part of first person shooter when we first heard it. So and it's also dope that Kendrick is comparing himself to Prince and Drake is the Mike in this generation. Prince outlived Michael Jackson by a little. I mean, both of their music is held in very high regard, but they are viewed as 2 different iconic artists. And also with that, if you want to dive even deeper, you can take the light pack part and add it to Cole and Drake being light skinned. And Kendrick may be poking at that a little bit because them being biracial, they have both talked about the struggles of being mixed. So it'd just be Kendrick, as the saying goes, pouring salt in a wound. And then Kendrick goes, for all your dogs getting buried, that's a K with all these 9s, he gonna see Pet Cemetery. So that's just great wordplay. Drake's last album, for all the dogs. K with that 9, we could take that as AK slang, the gun, or K is in Kendrick with the 9. He's gonna kill all Drake's dogs lyrically. But what I hope is that Kendrick keeps up with the wildfire smoke that he's throwing out there right now. We've heard this before. Kendrick was on that song with Keem, and he was talking about smoking on top 5 and burning the hard drives, and then nothing really came from that. One of those moments that got me hyped because I love a good rap beef, but then Kendrick, just dropped another hit song and then kind of just disappeared. But from what it sounds like, I do think Kendrick has a stash full of disses. I've heard the better rappers throughout my years of being a fan of hip-hop say that they do keep and they do practice and they do have bars for other rappers. They may never put them out, but they just want to keep on their skills, and just in case the rappers say some shit, they got something already ready to go at them. But, man, and I want Cole to stay on the warpath that he's been on. Cole has not dropped a whack verse in a very long time. I liked his last album. His features all are just fire. He's making it a point to kill the features. I think I heard somebody else say he's making a point to jump on all types of features. So he shows people that I can get with you and get with anybody on any type of track. Man, but this is the perfect pass for him to alley-oop some bars and drop them on Kendrick's head. Cole might have an album coming out. He keeps teasing music, but he's in that zone and he's in that pocket right now to where it's probably easy for him. Lyrics are probably flowing to him, but I think he wants to test how far Kendrick is willing to push the competition and push the battle. Because that's what it is in a battle. Somebody says something, you match them. They say something else, you match them. And you know where to go with the energy that's being directed towards you. But like I said, I think all three of them have too much musical respect and maybe pure respect for each other to go all the way filthy. And it's going to dictate, it's going to be a bunch of responses. Like Drake and Cole have to respond to Kendrick. And whatever they say, Kendrick will probably match. And it's just going to keep going to that until they get tired of the problem. And I think people forget that Drake really knows how to spit. Now, I'm one of those people that have been asking for an all-rap project. It don't even have to be like 15 tracks. But just the EP of Drake just barring shit up. Because I think, I know Drake is in rare form when he's just talking this shit. I don't want to get into the ghostwriting allegations now, but just Drake talking some braggadocio, life type shit is, sometimes he's in his own lane when it comes to that. He might drop some shit like, 12:15 a.m. in Compton. Just timestamp Drake is going to flame Kendrick up. And it may not be like a bunch of body shots, but it's going to sound great. All right, we're going to move on to Big Sean. Man, Big Sean. I didn't start off as a Big Sean fan. My Ohio brother Phil White put me on the Big Sean. I used to think he was a little corny in the beginning. Then when I actually started listening to him and with the Ye cosign, he makes really good music. And he turned out to be a really good rapper. But his rollout is getting kind of washed. And I don't really like seeing that because, like I said, I like Sean. Sean's a chill dude, man. He really don't bother anybody. He came out hot and seemed like I think he achieved and overachieved all his rap and musical goals very quickly, and he reached heights that he didn't think he was going to reach. He might have manifested that for himself, and he just fell back. But he has something coming because there's a Tiny Desk. I watched a few minutes of it. I liked the performance that I saw. He was really going hard on that one verse from, it was a Drake album. He just really take the pic, see the shit, on the road. I think it was from Nothing Was the Same. I Got Everything. His Tiny Desk performance of that was really good. He was really into it, man. He was mean mugging. He was going in on that. So he dropped the Tiny Desk. He dropped 2 tracks, one called Whole Time and Precision. Then he dropped the vlog called Clarity. So obviously Sean is gearing up for something. And I think Sean, at one point in time, we know he was mentioned with the big 3. He fell back. He gets overlooked because he falls back. And maybe he's not as active and rah-rah as those dudes. Not saying they're Cole and Kendrick or rah-rah. We know Drake is really with the hip-hop shits. Drake, for one thing, is definitely one of the rappers that is still trying to live a rap lifestyle. But so on Whole Time, Kendrick says, I just haven't had the energy to compete with enemies or your so-called bigger 3. So he's fully aware of the conversation that he is not in the big 3. Or that maybe he once was, or people bringing him into it. He's just not there anymore. But he can be. I think he definitely can be. Or maybe he can move down to his peer group, which is maybe... No, I ain't paying attention anymore. All right. So maybe it might be Wale or Meek. I ain't even going to say Ross. Who's Sean's peer group? Now, I'm trying to think of rappers from there. I would say Cudi, but I'm trying to think from other rappers from his era that Sean is compatible with. Nah, Sean can compete with them. He's got to go a little harder. I believe Joe Budden said this, that friendly rap, that's not going to work against Kendrick. If anybody comes at Kendrick on some friendly, hey, bro, we just doing this competition shit, it's not going to work. Kendrick is going to wash you. Kendrick can turn up the aggression level on songs when he needs to. So I don't want Sean to go that level. Either he's just going to hop in there or just leave it alone. Or maybe he can keep throwing some subs. Because him and Kendrick have had some little battle back and forth. Sean also said on Whole Time, even if you was my son, you couldn't belittle me. I just like that. I just like the the belittle part. I like to flip on the words, man. He said, I used to be held back and hide behind fear, but fear is just false evidence appearing real. I thought that was a cool acronym. I was in the military for 8 years. Y'all see it. So acronyms are all over the place, and it's just a cool acronym, and I believe it came from a book by, let me look it up, Brittany Carr, and I'll probably put the picture of the book cover up there. Sean also says, you too into keeping them guessing. I ain't even flinch when I heard your best shit. Living a dream inside of a dream, I feel like I'm Leo in Inception. So, that's Inception, a great Chris Nolan and Leo film, and I love a good film bar. That's, if you throw one of those in there, you got me. And the best bar to me, the best bar of that song is, back when you was a fly on the wall and dropped out of school to help Ye finish up graduation. That's a great, just 2 lines, because if you know the quick story of Big Sean as a teen, he ran up on Ye and spit a verse for him. Ye curved him at first, but Sean kept being persistent. He won him over. Ye kept in touch, sending him beats and giving him advice. A couple years went by, and Sean got signed to Good Music, and he became probably Ye's biggest protege. Now, the other song from Sean, Precision, produced by F&Z, Teddy Walton, Tom Kahiri, and Zachary. This is the one. Sean is back rapping, man. It sounds like Jeezy's on the ad-libs at the beginning saying, hey. But Sean goes on to say, I gotta penetrate, I gotta generate. I gave like 20 some years to my hood, now I gotta get away. That's a real bar. Man, if you grew up in certain environments, it's sad from a cultural standpoint, but you cannot exist and you cannot be in those environments once you make a certain level of, or once you hit a certain level of financial stability. You may think it's motivation from you showing off stuff, but it can breed hate, and we've seen it just go the worst way and have some of our favorite rappers killed from us just trying to hang out in those type of environments, man. Sean also says, I'm from the M. I got M's in the bank, M's in all my streams. For real, I'm feeling like Phil. They'll be living like Carlton if I leave them in the will. So Sean's from Michigan. That's one M. He's a millionaire. That's another M. And he's got millions of streams. That's the next M. So that bar is pretty self-explanatory to me. But like I said, I'm a sucker for some film or acting bar. So Sean also compares himself to, rest in peace, James Avery, the Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince. He was astute. They were rich. They lived in a nice house, had a nice environment. Carlton Banks was a very preppy, very intelligent, well-off, polo-drip son. And the play on the word will, being a document for your estate after your death, and then Will Smith to start the show. That's Sean back in a nice form of rapping. So he warming up to be spitting some shit. And then he ends the song by these niggas stealing. Their first name is Lupin. I'm hitting hard in that bitch Harukin. So that's why I start fucking with Sean, man. He's showing his love for anime and video games. So if you're an anime fan, then you know the anime Lupin III. It's a live action show now on Netflix. And the Street Fighter reference. That, what I'm saying? So that song got me hooked right there. I played it a bunch of times since it came out, and because I've been wanting some new Sean. All right, let's move over into some film stuff. All right, since Christian Bale started us off with the positive vibes, let's talk about some acting from Mr. Bale. I'm a 90s kid, 2010, so my earliest memories of Christian Bale, I went and looked it up. We was playing, man, that weirdo racist in the Shaft remake. Man, I still hate that role. But that's the sign of a good actor, because I don't like the character. And the journey has to start somewhere. There hasn't been too many people that just popped up on hit movies or hit shows. You had to start somewhere, where it was drama school or in theater. Then I would go into Reign of Fire, which was probably the best looking, it is the best looking dragons I've ever seen on screen. Him and Matthew McConaughey were out there fighting dragons. That was a cool movie for me when I was younger. Then Equilibrium with Taye Diggs. Rest in peace, man. My brother was so, not to Taye Diggs, my brother. I said that wrong. My brother was so hyped to show me this new movie he found out that he said it was the coolest shit he's ever seen since Matrix. So when I got to his house, man, he had the DVD. He had a huge screen. I used to look up to my brother. He had this big house, had this big ass screen. We put it in, man, and And it was the most amazing thing I've seen since Matrix. Man, the gun fu, the leather, the fighting, man, my brain, my preteen brain was just amazed at it. And I learned a new term called gung fu. And I didn't think anybody would be able to replicate what the Matrix did, what Equilibrium did, and what the movies that inspired the Matrix did. But I just kept seeing it, and I'm glad that became a wave. I know the Matrix wasn't first with the gung fu, at least I don't think they did. I want to do some research to see which ones they came from. And I'm going to make a video of that, the history of the gung fu. And then we get to 2004. Yeah, with Batman Begins. That is where Christian Bale became iconic, along with Chris Nolan. They changed the perception and what people thought a comic book film could be forever. And every comic book film after Batman Begins, if they see Chris Nolan or Christian Bale, they should just say thank you for making Batman Begins and just switching the public's zeitgeist, the public's thoughts on comic book movies. Then it wasn't until years later when I discovered my favorite Christian Bale role, and it became one of my all-time favorite films, and that was American Psycho. Man, I really love American Psycho. It's a weird movie, but to love. But I just like it, man. After seeing Christian play Bruce Wayne for so many years, and then seeing Patrick Bateman, a charismatic, charming, rich, handsome psycho, it was like I was looking at an Elseworlds or just a different universe version of Bruce Wayne. That's how I made the character in my head. So I was watching American Psycho thinking like, man, this is Bruce Wayne, but it's just a different version of Bruce. And also Jared Leto's in that movie. So you got the future Batman and the future Joker just hanging out early on. You got to start from somewhere. Christian is also known for some of his like iconic body transformations. Like he really lost a lot of weight for The Machinist, put on muscle for Reign of Fire, put on muscle for Batman. I think he got put on some weight for American Hustle and some weight for a great role in Vice where he played Dick Cheney. That was great. And it always impresses me when foreigners they portray Americans like historical icons and they do a great job. It's just like, damn, acting on another level. So shout out to Christian. One day I hope to be as dope as a philanthropist as you and do dope things and leave an impact on humanity like you did. Staying along in film, the Bad Boys 4 trailer came out. Titled Bad Boys Ride or Die. The directors from Bad Boys 3 or Bad Boys for Life, Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah, hope I said you guys' names right. They are returning. Also, Bad Boys 3 writer Chris Breener, he's coming back. So, and if you look at the trailer, it looks like Bad Boys 3. And I guess you do that to keep the same continuity, just like Bad Boys 1 and 2 look alike. So throughout the trailer, I'm a fan of Bad Boys. So throughout the trailer, I'm seeing, I don't know if I say when they're paying homage, showing respect, or they're just seeing shots from the previous films. Like there's a convenience store shot in the trailer, which obviously is from Bad Boys 1, I believe, with the Bubblicious. We see Will running in slow-mo with his shirt open from the first Bad Boys. Shout out to Michael Bay for making Will do that scene and help turn Will into an action star. Then we see the Michael Bay 360 shot around Will and Martin, and that has been in each one of them, I believe. I for sure know it was in 1 and 2. I haven't watched 3 nowhere near as many times as I saw the first 2. And then there's an awkward back and forth between Will and Martin and some white guys, just like the Klan scene from Bad Boys 2. You know, this time they made sure to frame it and show us that these 2 white guys are Confederate-loving, seem like low education white guys. So I don't know. I thought that scene was kind of corny. It could have been written better. But like I said, we just saw the trailer in a small section. There may be a lot more to that scene than what we saw, but I doubt it. We see Reggie is back. No, Reggie's been a fan favorite. He maybe has 3 or less lines, but it became the Bad Boys 2 scene with Martin checking Reggie and Will coming through and them having that dynamic has been a classic amongst people for a long time. And it's good to see that they keep Reggie evolving and they're keeping him around. He's a Marine now. So Captain Howard, he got killed in Bad Boys 3. But we see through the trailer that some of the plot involves around, it looks like Captain Howard being framed as a crooked cop. And then, of course, something happens where Will and Martin go on a run from law enforcement. They become like the target and maybe the crooked cop. So I probably could have seen that coming. It happens in a lot of police, law enforcement centric movies. Oh yeah, Will's random ass badass son is back. You know, he's probably gonna catch about 20 bodies, kick a lot of ass like he did in the last movie. That was I mean, it was, I guess they had to add that character in there, man. I'm not expecting something crazy and mind blowing, but they will get my money for a nice summer movie. You know, can't pass up supporting on a Will and Martin project. Bad Boys franchise is a part of my life, man. The first two raised me. They raised me in my film life, man. Number two is, like I said, is one of my all-time favorite films. The drone shots and the action seem very cool and immersive on point. So that is one of the reasons why I will go see it. I love the inclusion that drone shots have added to movies that make it more of an immersive feeling. They get shots that cranes and handheld cameras can't always fit in. Ooh, next. Monkey Man. Now, this is something I read about and I saw the trailer and I was hooked, and I can't wait to watch this movie. In fact, it's making me going back. I'm going to go back and watch Green Knight so I can see more of Dev Patel's work. So Monkey Man is starring Dev Patel, co-written, and it's the directorial debut of Dev Patel. It's a modern adaptation based on the Hindu legend of Hanuman. So the film, from the trailer, the film is about, and from what I've read, the film is about an underground fighter in Mumbai, India, who just goes on a John Wick style vengeance tour through the city's elite, who are responsible for his mother's murder in some way. So, but during the second day of production, Dev broke his hand. During the entirety of production, he was recovering from broken toes. He tore his shoulder during the fight scene and got an eye infection. Due to the COVID restrictions, production had to be moved from India to Indonesia, and the borders got shut down, which shut down cast and crew. So they went to YouTube to find new stuntmen, and the crew was there and had to be extras. Based off of all that, I love reading backstories about films like that, because that makes me know that they really cared. They gave a fuck about the movie, I guess because you're playing with somebody else's money and your own money, but it just shows me, it makes me want to go support the movie more, that all those roadblocks happen. And those happen a lot during film. We just don't hear a lot of them, but those roadblocks happened and you were still passionate enough to make your project. Especially Dev, man, dealing with a broken body, an eye infection, co-writer, and it's your first film you're directing and you're starring in it. You have to be the lead of that cast and crew and keep everything on point and hold it down. So Jordan Peele is a producer of the film. It also stars Charlotte Copley. He's a nice sci-fi actor. It premiered at South by Southwest in March. And so the beginning of the release will be in April. And just like I said, just how dedicated Dev was to this filming from the trailer, I will be checking it out. Now we're going to hit a somber note talking about TV and film. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. The revolutionary Japanese manga creator and character designer died at the age of 68 from a subdural hematoma. Toriyama, he was known for the legendary Dragon Ball series. He has been compared to Stan Lee and Walt Disney. Respects to his legacy, the outpour has been worldwide. We saw the French Prime Minister and the French President pay him tribute. Justin Chatwin, who played Goku in that goofy-ass American adaptation of Dragon Ball, apologized for the role and paid his respect. Like I said, around the globe, we got people gathering in Mexico, Peru, Argentina, just a few places, just to show their respects. I read that they had their hands up doing the spirit bomb pose, just as their version of a praying hands for Akira Toriyama. And there's some amazing murals being put up worldwide, which I knew this was going to happen because if you're tapped into the anime world, you know how much DBZ meant to people. DBZ is probably DBZ and maybe Guyver were probably my earliest memories of anime. And I got captivated by the motion, by the action, by the storytelling, by the character designs. You know, being in America, our animation isn't shit compared to Japanese animation. It just looks so much cooler and so much adult. Like, American characters are sometimes this big, where you got anime characters kind of portray the height of people. Just to my point of view, the themes are more adult. Like, I know we have adult cartoons. Oh, and we bite. I ran into some camera issues, so I had to. If you see a jump cut or just a cut, that's what it is. All right, let me get back to showing my respects towards Akira. So, like I said, Dragon Ball played a very pivotal role in my growing up. So it provides a sense of nostalgia. Growing up with my peers, Akira Toriyama made us want to be Super Saiyan. We tried to power up. We tried to gather ki. We tried to do Kamehamehas. We wanted to become better at martial arts than we already were, what we're doing as kids. And Dragon Ball provided that outlet of just like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Just fight. Oh, they fighting for something. Now, I understand, and even as a kid, I understood, or as a teenager, I understood the racial imagery. I get the blonde hair, blue eyes when you become stronger. I get the monkey with the tails. I get the imagery that black people have sometimes in anime. I'm an anime fan, and so I've had some black people ask me why I'm an anime fan when I know all this, but it is what it is, man. I pick and choose my battles. So I understand the dark skin and the big lips trope. I didn't like looking at Mr. Popo, Killer, or Staff Officer Black. Like when I was a kid, his name is Staff Officer Black. I knew this growing up because I'm from the South and I've seen that imagery before. But as a kid, my brain justified it because of how much joy and entertainment that the series gave me. And the Dragon Ball series has been around for 40 years now and it's still driving. You got films dropping in movie theaters. You got new series and games constantly coming out. And numerous current anime artists have said how Dragon Ball Z has influenced them, from the fighting animation to the overall animation, the character arcs, the story build-ups, just anime in general. A look at like the most recent Creed, Michael B. Jordan filmed his fight scenes to resemble anime. I know a channel that I watch, Quarter Crew or Quarter Digital, they have some things that they film and they show you how you can get an anime aesthetic when filming now. So rest in peace to Akira. We thank you for your service to humanity. DBZ or Dragon Ball can end right now and the world will be okay with the vast amount of entertainment of joy you have provided us. Let's move on to some science and tech. And this will also tie in with some film. So, Sora. Sora is made by OpenAI. It's a language model, like I said, developed by OpenAI, built on the GPT architecture. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. You've probably heard chat put in front of GPT, and it's become a very popular AI model that you can type stuff in and it'll give you back in a long text format like you're actually talking to somebody. I've used it before. I've played with it. It's pretty cool because it's quick. You just I've done some research. Apparently, it's just gathering information that's on the net and reaching for stuff and then regurgitating it back to you in a way that you can understand it. Now, but Sora, I ain't gonna say it's a problem. It is a problem, but it's pretty dope. It's one of those things where you have to embrace the technology, but be wary of the technology. The key feature of Sora is the ability to adapt its responses based on the context provided for the user. It can slightly understand nuances in language and it tailors its output accordingly. Now it's designed to understand and generate human-like videos from the text input it receives. Now I'm gonna put some clips up. There are some amazing. Oh, I gotta turn the hat around for this. There are some amazing looking Sora videos out there. And when you first see it, you are in awe at them, but there's like a feeling of dread that kind of creeps up. Because you're like, damn, this is where we're going in the future. I'm glad I got my living out already because 5 years past, 5 years and up, humanity is gonna have a probably really hard problem distinguishing between AI and a lot of stuff. And text photos and AI videos are gonna be probably very relevant in the entertainment industry and online. That's what I said. So this moves into the film part again. Tyler Perry has an amazing studio that he built, a film studio. It was very inspirational seeing a black man own his own film studio or land like that. So, but he's putting his $800 million expansion on hold after seeing the videos from Sora. Now, anybody that works in the film industry or everybody that works in the film industry, I know saw that video and was like, what the hell is going on? Hell no, especially VFX artists. Now, there's only a few experts in the field, and it's only accessible to a few filmmakers. So it's not something that everybody has access to, because that would be extremely dangerous. Just like we see with the AI deepfake videos now, we're seeing a lot of people do that, especially for like revenge porn and porn videos. You can, or I see it a lot in music. The AI voices are getting very good to the point where I'm a huge Ye fan. I heard a song and was like, oh, he's spitting. Oh, he really rapping. But it just took a few seconds to listen to some things and read the comments and be like, oh, this isn't real. And you're like, oh, shit. That got me that quick. And I've heard people and seen people say AI women have gotten them. It's not that crazy. Yeah, you can still look at pictures. But since a lot of women have been using filters for years, when you see an AI picture, you're kind of like, oh, that's just a woman with filters on. That's a weird part about it. Now, back to Tyler Perry. The expansions were going to include 12 sound stages. And I'm going to paraphrase what Tyler said in an interview with the Hollywood Reporter. He said he's been following the advancements of AI very closely. Like I said, every entertainment industry, every content creator, anybody that does anything with images and photography and video needs to be following AI. He said he used AI before to keep him out of getting aging makeup applied for 2 hours. See, so Tyler has already jumped into the world of AI. Instead of sitting 2 hours in a chair getting annoying makeup put on, he just got AI to do it. And it may become an industry practice. Practical looks great, but people are about making movies is still a business. I think we forget that as the fans and the audience, and they're trying to save money. But you can also see it in the production quality. But if you got things like Sora out here that don't take away from the quality, and you don't have to spend the money making on practical effects, then this may become something that's normal, just like the use of green screen and CGI did, and the use of volumes on movie sets. It's just a progression in technology. So traveling to various locations to film and building sets can all be done now from a computer. You just have to put in the right prompts, the right text, get the right engineers that you want for your film that know what they're doing, and you can make all that, like I just said, without having to travel, without using green or blue screen. In my opinion, there needs to be an all hands industry approach. With AI in general, the government needs to do something about it. But the film industry, the entertainment industry, they need to sit down and talk about, with leaders in AI, talk about these advancements on how to protect people's jobs and get ahead of AI. You don't ever want the technology controlling you. And I feel like we are at that point, and we're hitting that point. We might have already crossed over. There's a saying about crossing the Rubicon. We might have already crossed that point to where technology is controlling the humans right now. It's probably, and it may get worse. You know, we got headsets now that make people stay in their own little bubble. We got these Sora, we got AI women coming out, AI men coming out, AI hustles being made. Like I said, man, I just really want the government not to be left behind with this. That's one of the reasons why you need younger people with political power. You can't always see something from your age. Like if you're older, you may not see what's coming down or that's coming up. And if you're younger, you may not see something that's on the top looking down. So it needs to be a dynamic of both of these, because I don't want to see hundreds of people or thousands of people out of work and one day look up and we're just seeing a bunch of Sora or AI made videos or TV shows or movies. And we know it's a monetary move. You just have less employees to pay. If you got to pay for just a bunch of servers and a bunch of units to keep the service cold and or cool and pay for a bunch of programmers and a VFX artist, and what do you need all these actors for sometime? And what do you need makeup artists and lighting artists for? Tyler just said that he took away a makeup artist's job because the 2 hours was gone from just doing AI. But I do believe that people like Tyler and other industry people somewhat want to keep the professionals around because you can't rely fully on technology. And I think it would just be really shitty just to wake up one day and your entertainment industry job has just been, they tell you not to come back. But I was afraid we were going to see that during the writer's strike, because if you can get AI just to write a bunch of episodes and you tweak it, then what do I need a person for? I know you need a person because you can't replicate human nuances and slang and just words and interpretation. But the more that these programs learn to mimic human behavior, the more that they will become very spooky for future generations. And there also needs to be a disclaimer on everything that's AI. It needs to be government regulated, that you have to put a disclaimer that this image or this voice is made by AI, even if it's portraying something to be realistic. All right, man, we're going to shift it up, man, to some veteran talk. All right, so the Navy out there putting in work now like it was World War II. So all my shipmates out there, I want y'all to stay safe and stay vigilant. Now, the Navy has been in a battle against the Houthi. Now, I'm seeing this being called the Battle of the Red Sea, or the Red Sea Crisis. Now, the Red Sea is a very narrow inlet in the Indian Ocean located between the northeastern coast of Africa and the southwestern coast of the Arabian Peninsula. It's bordered by Egypt, Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and Jordan. The Red Sea is connected to the Indian Ocean through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait in the south of the Gulf of Suez, and the Suez Canal is in the north. It's a very strategic location that has become a vital waterway for international trade, and it's shipping, from what I read, it ships around 15% of the trade comes through there. So, you know the Navy. We're some of the coolest people on the planet. You know, we've been bombing on Decepticons and dropping their bodies off in the ocean like Osama. You know what I'm saying? Go ask Megatron and them about us. The Navy, we get busy. All right. Now, the internet tells me the Houthi are a rebel group who overthrew Yemen around 2014 and reportedly have ties to Iran. And they've been bullying people in the Red Sea for a while. You know, the Houthis are reportedly backed by Iran. They stated they will only target ships that are linked to Israel, and they are in support of the Palestinian people, and they want to force a ceasefire in Gaza. So, this is 21st century warfare. The Houthis are becoming known for their attacks on shipping vessels with air and underwater drones and cruise missiles. I don't think the Navy this might be the first time that the Navy's fought somebody that actually has weaponry. I'm not saying they can rival, but it's just not like just whatever. You got to pay attention. They're sending underwater drones. They're sending cruise missiles. It's not like we're dominating them from that we just can just not be vigilant. Now, the Eisenhower CVN-69, the carrier cruiser, the Philippine Sea, and the destroyers USS Gravely and USS Mason are out there along with the Carney and the Laboon. They're all in the region, along with ships from Greece, UK, Denmark, and India. And since November, the Navy and the Houthi have engaged numerous times with drone strikes and missiles launched at the ships. Once it got to the point of 4 attacks on a ship in 6.5 hours. All of those were taken care of by the ship's self-defense systems, and I cannot find any combat casualties reported from the Red Sea yet, unless they're brand new and the families haven't been told, so that's a good thing. The ship's self-defense systems are working exactly how they're supposed to be. I know those crews, even though they have stopped all the attacks, I know it's probably, after being in the Navy, I know it's probably very nerve-wracking standing watch and just being out there knowing that your ship has been attacked, is still getting attacked, and going to get attacked. Like just having to sleep through all those alarms or inbound missiles or incoming missiles or brace for shocks and general quarters alarms. It's probably, and they're all real. I don't know how it's going down. I'm just trying to put the pieces together from my experience in the Navy. That's probably crazy on this ship. Everybody's probably living like, yo, we got to live it up. Or they may be living in paranoia. But I'm so glad that the self-defense systems are working, because a lot of times the Navy's been so dominant that those things don't get used in real-time situations a lot. So it's good to see that the product is working as advertised. And I know the AOs on the Ike are getting to it. I know they supplying all those clapbacks. I know they probably down there, they can't sleep. They gotta do inventory, gotta break stuff out and prep for night crew. So IOs, y'all out there getting it, earning a rate. And it has been reported the Navy has conducted more than 95 drone and anti-ship missile intercepts. Damn. And they've made more than 249 self-defense strikes on 50 Houthi targets. So that is a back and forth that's going. And people always think the American military is very mighty, which it is, but it's the smaller factions. And as the world is progressing, they're getting more access to this technology. We saw that in Afghanistan, when you would think that a fighting force like the military could go in there and just debo everybody, but they couldn't. They were not just fighting random people anymore. Even with all the kits and the equipment they had, somebody in sandals with an AK and good knowledge of the terrain was kicking our ass for a little bit. And look, I'm a lightweight conspiracy theorist. I'm not naive to how propaganda works. I don't just blindly believe everything I read. In fact, I try to look for non-American outlets that are reporting stuff when it comes to America, so I can see what the dichotomy of the rest of the world is. So what I just said about the Houthis, that's what I found researching. I didn't dive too deep in it because I don't want to speak factually about something I don't know the facts about. Everything I read about the Houthis could be complete bullshit. We've seen it before when America labels groups, but I do know that my shipmates out there are having to fight off drones and missile strikes. So I'm rocking with them at the moment. Hey, Houthis, y'all holding it down, fighting for what y'all believe in, but you're gonna fuck around and find out. Alright. Let's dribble up the court. Let's talk about some basketball. Oh man, so Toronto Raptors power forward Jontay Porter, the brother of Nuggets champion Michael Porter Jr., is being investigated by the NBA, and it's based around 2 games for gambling. The 2 games were on January 26th and March 20th. They saw a spike in betting. Now, Jontay has a history of posting about gambling and stock and crypto trading on X, but it was DraftKings who brought it to the world's attention that there was $10,000 to $20,000 bets on Jontay's prop bets, specifically the unders for his props. Now, that means that in Magical Vegas, they pick a certain number that you average with certain stats, and if the player goes over or they go under that, whichever one you pick, the over and under, that's when you can win some money on that. So on January 26th against the Clippers, Jontay's props were set at 5.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. And there was an over under for threes, which is 0.5. And I don't know how you get 0.5 in threes. So, but Jontay played a hard ass 4 minutes. And he got 0 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 0 threes. Then he left the game with an aggravated eye injury. So, of course, all the unders hit. The next day after that, DraftKings reported that Jontay's 3-point prop was the biggest hustle of that night for people. The next game, March 20th against the Kings, Jontay only played 3 minutes and he went under again. Now, once again, DraftKings reported that Jontay's unders were the #1 hustle for that night, with certain sports books saying people were doing whatever they could to try to get in there for their Jontay Porter bets. Now, it doesn't look like Jontay did anything right now. It could be a big-ass coincidence, or someone close to Jontay could have known information about him and put that out there to people. The team could have leaked it, or like I said, somebody dealing with him could have leaked the information. and it's just spread around really quick to different people. Like, hey, Jontay said this, Jontay said that. You should go in and bet on Jontay. Or it could be exactly how it looks, and the information came straight from Jontay. Or maybe he was something is going on in his life where he had to take the go easy to get the extra to get the under for people. We don't know that, but Porter, he got picked up by the Grizzlies in 2020, got injured, and has been recovering for 2 seasons. And I read that that's where he got into the stock and crypto trading before he jumped on with the Raptors. Now, I have played in the sports world of betting from time to time. I don't anymore. It is what it is. If I get back to it, I get back to it. I just haven't jumped into it. Too many times you will start noticing little interesting patterns, like over-unders that are very close or 2 on point. Then you'll see certain calls being made by the refs. You'll see the game starting to get slowed down. You just start seeing calls, or you just, it just looks weird. But then you got to go back and check your prop bets, or you got to check the money line or the over-under. And you start, like I said, you start noticing numbers. Like, hey, man, that's crazy. That's too much of a coincidence. I started noticing it way too much. And there's been NBA refs fired for betting, making burner accounts. So, and I doubt that those refs worked alone, and it is a lot of power. Recently, we've seen a ref not called Tony Brothers, the NBA ref, say I'm the judge, jury of the court. So I can basically, he's saying I can do whatever. I control the game. I control the sport when I'm on the floor. And if you have somebody that's tied into gambling, we obviously can see how that could be a problem. And it's hard. And sometimes I laugh when I see pro sports teams get into it with get on their players, because pro sports teams promotes gambling so heavily now. You can't watch a pro sporting event, listen to a podcast or a streaming service without hearing or seeing gambling being pushed on you. And it's getting annoying, and it's weird because it used to be taboo, but now it's becoming more prevalent in more and more states, because outside of Vegas, and I believe it was Jersey, you can see how much money has been made on dreams and just the adrenaline rush from gambling. I think pro athletes need to leave it alone, not because you make money already, but it's just not worth your career. Or you need to have a lot of layers of separation. You need to give it to somebody, or give your money, or not your money, or tell your picks to somebody that's going to tell somebody, that's going to tell somebody, that's going to tell somebody. Because if you're in the locker rooms of people and you just hear the inner circles of the sport you're in, before anybody else know about injury reports or scouting reports. So you may know that one of your teammates is out that night. And you go tell your friend, hey, take the under on this player. Or if you know yourself, I'm not feeling that well tonight. I don't think I'm going to go that hard. Take the under on me. That is where we're at now with sports betting. And I don't think it's going anywhere, especially with, like I said, gambling being more prevalent everywhere all the time. So, look, you can even do it on 2K. Like, it's not like real money, but you have, like, you can bet on games every day and win, like, the virtual currency they have on 2K. All right, I'm going to talk about the hometown team. The Mavericks. Since March 7th, y'all know the Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks. Big D, D-Town, 214-972-469, whatever you want to call it, Triple D. The Mavericks are 11-13 since March 7th. They were on a 7-game winning streak until the Warriors beat them last night. So, Andrew Wiggins led the Warriors with 23-4-2. Clay had 14-3-2. Steph put up 13-77. And Cliff Paul came through with a nice State Farm 14 points, 1 rebound, and 5 assists. On the Dallas side of the game, before this, Luka was on a 7-game triple-double streak. During that time, he set the record with 6 30-point triple-doubles and 5 games with 35 points for a triple-double. So, you know what I'm saying? Luka's out here evolving every season, learning how to cook every season, not lean, almost got a double chin. But, man, he can hoop, and he's going to go down as one of the greatest hoopers of all time if he isn't already. People are calling him better than Dirk. Jason Kidd say he's better than Dirk. You know what? Just because Dirk's my second favorite player, I'm holding off for like an MVP or a championship. But if I'm not on some straight basketball stuff, he's a better overall player than Dirk. All right, so against the Warriors, Luka Luka added another triple-double to his career with 30, 12, and 11. Kyrie had 27, 1, and 2. PJ Washington had 20 points and 5 rebounds. Now, I love having Kyrie on the Mavericks. It's great to have another great superstar player in Dallas. I really do appreciate what Kyrie brings to the Mavericks and what he's just doing in the city and just having somebody to ride with Luka. Man, I didn't think Jalen Brunson needed to be traded for Kyrie. The Mavs were just in the West Finals, and Luka seemed to work perfect along with Kyrie. And I'm positive that the office and Luka are looking at Jalen right now like, man, WTF did we miss? You know, Jalen has become an all-star on the Knicks. He's probably going to be an all-time Knick. He's leveled up. He's making history. And playing alongside Luka might have suppressed all the skills that we see now. So everything happens for a reason if you prescribe to certain things like that. The rookie center for the Mavericks, Derek Lively, got injured early in the season. And the Mavs, they were asked out in the paint. So the issue got addressed by adding more talent in the paint by getting Daniel Gafford from the Wizards for Rashawn Holmes and a 2024 first-round pick. Daniel has been great so far. He's added a lot of athletic post presence along with Derek Lively. They make the Mavs post play look fun and very youthful. Man, it's a lot of dunks. It's a lot of energy in there. It's a lot of moving around. You know, Derek was a top 10. Not Derek, Daniel is top 10 in the NBA for blocks. He's a traditional big, so he doesn't float around the three. And he went on a streak of 33 made shots this season. So he was rivaling Wilt Chamberlain. I think the record was 37, and he got to 33. But like I said, man, having just a solid post player with Luka has done wonders for the Mavericks defense. The whole team is starting to play defense, and it's doing good. It's doing well for them. Luka moved when he went on. I already talked about that all. Yeah, but I do believe that Luka will be an MVP before he retires. Like the way he's playing, he could have been MVP for a couple years. But if the Mavericks had more time, Luka could be an MVP this year. He's 2 games away. I mean, they are 2 games away from the 4th spot. They have 45 wins right now. The 4th spot has 47 wins. And the next team after that, I believe, has 52. And I don't think they're going to catch that. So they can move up to 4th, man. Luka called himself Robin and Kyrie Batman. You know, Kyrie does have a utility belt of handles. He's considered to have the GOAT handles. He's averaging 25, 5, and 5 this year. And we've been seeing him catch and throw down some oops. You haven't heard any extra from Kyrie. Man, he's just been great in Dallas, man. Every time I see him on social or watch a post-game interview, he's chilling, man. He's just happy to be playing ball and just living his life and learning more about himself, man. After having an entire offseason to kick it and learn each other, you know, they got thrown together the first time they played, like mid-season. You know, they got it together. I'm excited to see what they do in the playoffs, man. It's going to be, the Mavericks missed the playoffs last year, so it's going to be good to have a summer with some extra Mavericks basketball rolling into the Olympics. Oh, man, let's end it. We about the dock, so let's end it on some positive vibes. The Suavora Fencing Club, and I hope I said that correctly. I was looking for some pronunciations. I couldn't find any. It's a fencing club in Nairobi, Kenya. It's offering the youth of Kenya a chance to try to escape the streets through sword fighting. The club has reported sometimes they struggle with equipment, but they're having a huge impact on the community. The youth are loving the sport, and they're trying to get some fencers on the national team if they haven't already. I saw some videos, and I may post a clip. They have club bouts in the street, and you know, it's just cool seeing those kids in all their fencing gear, having fun in the street, man. It's just demonstrating to the community the hard work and the discipline and the training that the kids have received. Mburu Wanayoki, who's the coach for the team, is described as a former turned athlete, and now, like I said, he's the coach, and he's provided a much needed guidance to the youth of that area. So, like I said, it was just amazing to see the pictures, and I'm gonna post some up and maybe a link to the website if they have one. I've always thought fencing looked cool. It looked really cool to me, just having the mask on where you can't see people's face, and then just the stance, and then it's really just a just the movements and the jumping and just having the coordination. I don't know the rules of it, but it looked fun in the moment. And honestly, I've never seen anyone black do it whenever I would see it. There would be no black faces. I'm sure there are some, but like I said, whenever I saw it, it was never any black faces. So this is really dope to see a group in Africa and some kids in Africa smiling, enjoying, having fun, and learning a new skill set. And my parents kept me busy with just little random activities like this. Like I would be in acting and screenwriting classes growing up. I had to play golf, tennis, roller hockey, soccer, man, piano lessons. It was my parents did their best to keep me off the streets and keep my brain busy. So these activities definitely do work. The programs are great for the kids, and I'm gonna look for a way if I see if this fencing club has any links to donate to them or see anything I could do. But shout out to Mburu and the fencing club in Nairobi, Kenya. I hope y'all do big things and maybe qualify for the Olympics one day. Yeah. Now we docking back. About to. I'd like to thank y'all for being on the journey. I promise to do better. Hey, it's Michael Caesar III. Fair winds, following seas, and stay woke.